The Hoosiers. In addition to being an offensive power in the Big Ten, Indiana ranked within the top 25 teams in the country in several key categories, including points per game and total yards per game. The leader of their offense, senior quarterback Nate Sudfeld. He is one of the brothers of Zach Sudfeld, a tight end who is currently in the NFL with the Jets organization. Nate is Indiana's all-time leader in passing yardage and touchdowns, and he also ranks at the top of other notable lists. Having been around quarterbacks like Heisman Trophy winners Jason White and Sam Bradford earlier in his career, Hoosiers head coach Kevin Wilson sees similarities like size, intelligence, arm strength, and decision-making skills between those accomplished collegiate stars and Sudfeld, a native of California who could find himself in the pros next year. He has carved out a legacy at Indiana, which has included a spot on this year's All-Big Ten third team, and he will look to cap off his senior year on a winning note when he goes up against Duke. Due to an ankle injury, Sudfeld missed one game this year, a matchup that Indiana lost to Penn State. In the 11 regular season games he played, Sudfeld completed almost 61% of his passes while throwing for 3,184 yards, the second highest single-season total in school history, behind Ben Chappell's 3,295 yards in 2010. Sudfeld's 24 passing touchdowns are tied with Chappell for the second most in school history, behind the 28 of Kellen Lewis in 2007, Indiana's last bowl season before this year. One of Sudfeld's top targets this season has been wide receiver Simmie Cobbs Jr., a 6'4" sophomore who has given the Hoosiers a large downfield threat that the team lacked in 2014, when Cobbs showed flashes of potential but struggled to find consistency. His frame and build have drawn comparisons to some previous receivers that Sudfeld threw to at Indiana, including Cody Latimer, who is in the NFL with the Denver Broncos. Cobbs wound up at Indiana after passing on going to Purdue, which told Cobbs that they wanted him to play safety. Earlier this season, Cobbs said that he was putting too much pressure on himself as a freshman, but it appears that he has come into his own with a lot of time left to continue his development. Cobbs Jr. led the Hoosiers during the regular season in receptions with 54 and receiving yards with 914. He averaged close to 17 yards per reception, so Duke will have to be careful about letting him get behind the defense. Cobbs Jr. is also one of 3 Hoosiers who had at least 4 receiving touchdowns, along with Ricky Jones and Mitchell Page. Turning our attention to the ground, junior Jordan Howard has been one half of a two-headed monster at running back. Howard transferred to Indiana from the University of Alabama, Birmingham, which released Howard from his commitment last December after UAB decided to eliminate its football program, which will eventually return. Howard's first official visit took place days after his release, and he committed to Indiana shortly thereafter. With 1,213 rushing yards in the regular season, Howard put together the 16th 1,000-yard rushing season in Indiana history. It only took him 9 games to post that total, too, and he was playing hurt most of the way. A sprained ankle limited him in the middle of the season, and a knee injury caused him to miss the Hoosiers' last 2 regular season games, though he might return for the Pinstripe Bowl. If Howard cannot go in the Bronx, expect most of the Hoosiers' backfield work to fall upon the shoulders of sophomore Divine Redding, who had a bit of a viral moment during the season when a clip of the 5'10" Redding hurdling a Purdue defender opened eyes around the internet. Redding did not see a lot of playing time as a freshman in 2014, but this year he has proven to be capable of handling a significant load. In fact, Redding only had 5 fewer carries than Jordan Howard in the regular season. Redding averaged a little over 4 yards per carry, posting a total of 785, and his 8 rushing touchdowns were just 1 behind Howard for the team lead. Redding also caught 11 passes, the same number as Howard. The Hoosiers defense is led by sophomore linebacker Marcus Oliver, who recorded a little over 80 tackles this season, accounting for more than 11% of the team's total. As far as the pass rush goes, defensive lineman Nick Mangieri led the team with 9 sacks. Nobody else had more than 4. While the Indiana defense has some talented individual pieces, the team as a whole has had trouble stopping opponents. And even a small increase in that area could have led to even bigger things this year. The Hoosiers were within one score of their foes in losses to Ohio State, Michigan, and Iowa. Given how Indiana has had so much time to prepare for Duke following its last game, it will be interesting to see if any significant adjustments to the defense are made.